Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. God, it's been a while. So this week I am back with something very exciting. I have been approached by Ekulla, which are a brand of enclosures, and I'm really excited about this. We'll get into it, but there's just so much to know about this enclosure. But once you get used to it, it's really easy. So, for example, I used to get really overwhelmed with, like, in here we've got light UVB, they're on different timers, they're on different settings, and that used to overwhelm me. But, you know, it's actually not that hard. You know, when your brain just makes things more difficult than they actually are. So let's just get into a few updates first. So I've moved. I now live about 20 minutes outside of Cardiff. I used to live in Cardiff, where the spare room was born. So this is actually the spare room now, Mark III. So we still have Rowan. She's down the bottom, but she's actually sleeping, so I'm not going to disturb her. She has a part of her enclosure where if she's there, unless there's like something pressing, like I'm concerned about her health, if she's in that spot, I just generally leave her alone so she knows that's a safe space for her. And we also have, of course, we have the angriest snake. Yeah, she's already starting. See if you can hear her. She's a bit like me. You can hear her before you can see her. So here she is, my little boo-boo. She is now a full adult, and she is actually displaying mating behaviour. So she's doing like little jolts around her enclosure, and she is actually the correct weight for breeding now, but I have absolutely no plans to breed her in the future. The market is too saturated with snakes as it is. She's beautiful, my baby. So up here we've got Honey, who is largely crepuscular, nocturnal, so she is asleep. Then up here we've got Morgan, who is actually going to be the resident of the enclosure we're talking about today, which is just super exciting. And then we got Boo, which is my Hapalopus formosus. We got Cloud, who's a tea elbow. This is Ivy, and she is named after the guitarist from Sleep Token, and you might, if I get the angle right, might be able to see a leg down. And then in here with her little donut spider is Blaze. Now she, fingers crossed, she is a Homeoma chilensis, and yeah, just the tiniest thing. I'll see if I can see her. Okay, I can see her, but there is literally no point in me showing you because she's in that moss. What I want to get into next is the most exciting part of this video. So we're going to show you the enclosure. We're going to put it together and fill it and everything else. Okay, so behind me we have the makings of an amazing enclosure, basically. So I got 2 bags of peat-free, chemical-free houseplant potting mix, because we're going to make this live planted. In preparation for this, I've had a couple of plants propagating. So I've got, this is Epipramnum aureum and joy. This is Epipramnum aureum golden, which is the most common plant you seem to see in enclosures, because pothos is just a prolific grower. And then I've also been propagating this Tradescantia zebrina, but this is the Violet Hill, but they're just great, and they just, again, they're prolific growers. And then lastly, of course, we have the enclosure. I'm so excited. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the enclosure, and then I'm going to give it a week, and I'm going to come back and sort of give my sort of like honest opinion of how I found the enclosure. So here is the enclosure. So let's get this open. Ooh, this is self-assembly, so that's super easy. Oh, it looks so easy to put together. Like, that does look confusing, but actually it looks like it all just sort of slots into place. Definitely for me, user manual is going to be just absolutely key. So let's get out all of this then. So this must be the top, because we've got a fan and the lights. What's this? That is something, looks important. Then these are the pillars, I assume. Oh my god, I appreciate this so much. Right, so you know when you go IKEA and they give you pieces and they give you instructions and they're like, this is part F, but like E and F look so similar and you're like, I have no idea, and then you end up putting it together wrong. This has E written on it, so I can't get it wrong. Cool, right, I'm gonna get all the bits out. This is the plug. So the plug is European, so if you buy in the UK, you are going to need to get an adapter for that, so I'll have to find one. And we have the base. So, alright, I'm not going to touch anything until I know what I'm doing, but this is the base, which is nice because it's raised, and then you've got all the controls on the front. These are then the panels. Ooh, a little door too, with a nice gold handle. The door, more little panels, so those will be the ends.
So then I started putting the enclosure together, and it was actually really simple, like literally everything just slots into place. And yeah, it was just really, really simple instructions. So the only thing that let it down was it was meant to come with a little tool to help me screw these in, but I couldn't find it, so I used scissors. Anyway, it didn't really matter. I got the doors in and just easy. So this is the enclosure. Hello. This is the enclosure built before I've put any electrics in it. So I think it is 60 by 30. Up here, the lights provide UVA and UVB. You've also got this side here, which would be like the warm side and the cold side. So up there, you've got a fan. So you can even provide your animal with a cool breeze. That is so fancy. For this bit, I am just going to take the doors off because I don't want to get them dirty. So this is our first bag of compost. It holds its shape really nicely. So like you get it into a ball and it'll stay. And what that means then is that when your tarantula is burrowing, the burrows are a little bit safer, like they're less prone to collapse and things like that. And, you know, obviously in nature you don't get that option and, you know, whatever. But in captivity, we have a duty to provide our animals with the safest home possible. This is Morgan's current enclosure. In here, she's got ivy, moss of two kinds, and she's got a Boston fern on the side. She did have a peperonia hope down here, but she dug it up and it is now dead. So then I just started taking things out of her enclosure that she's used before. We had some wood, some old plants, and some isopods. I've got Morgan here. So she is my juvenile Grammostola pulchra. I'm going to put her in this catch cup for now. So then I just started building. So I started by doing her a starter burrow on either side, because then she can just pick which side she wants to go on, you know, however she's feeling. Then I started to add the bits of wood, the rocks, and then the plants. So I added the Enjoy pothos on the left, the golden on the right. I put the fern back on the left, the ivy in the middle because I want it to go around the wood if it grows. And then I thought the tradescantia would look nice coming down the front. Then I added in the most important part, which was Morgan and her 4 isopod buddies. So as you can see, she's really small in this enclosure and she should be able to stay in this enclosure for the rest of her life, and if not, a significant portion of it. So I'm going to get her back in here. She has immediately gone to the top of this wood. Just, you know, the queen of her castle. In we go. Backtrack and then push. This one is front track. Little push and slide. Lovely. Fab. So that is Miss Thing's new home. So this is the enclosure. Almost finished. Obviously we've got to wait for the plug so I can use the electrics, but I am really impressed with it. One thing you don't find with enclosures is they don't look very like chic or expensive. Exoterra has always been my go-to because they're easy, they're functional, you know, but this actually feels like
premium. Even though I haven't used the electrics yet, I still love the little details like the gold handles, and it's all just really sleek. This is Morgan's favourite pastime, which is giving me an absolute headache. Oh, she does this every time she gets a new enclosure, and it gives me the absolute fear. So we're going to go and get her.
So after I saved Morgan from a very certain death, I just wanted to rearrange where the enclosures were, and I decided to put Morgan on the left, and then I just rearranged the invert shelf so it just looked a bit more tidy.
And I can't show you properly how nice it looks. Maybe it would be better if I opened the doors, there's no reflection. It looks like you're looking into a slice of forest, and obviously like I've made the inside, but it's just really nice to have an enclosure with so much open like space to watch. The only thing so far that I think I would like to see is the option to have maybe tinted panels for this. So if you've got an invert, you know, then you have the option to reduce the light slightly, but it is a lovely enclosure so far. So I am going to wrap this portion of the video up because I have all this to tidy. I'm going to wait for that plug to arrive, and then I'm going to wait a week. There's no point in me showing you that I've got the plug and turning it on when I want to trial the enclosure first. So I'm going to wait for the plug to come, try it for a week, and then I'm going to give you guys my honest review of how it works for tarantulas. Welcome back everyone. So it has been just over a week, but I've been using the CP series of the Ekulla enclosure, and I'm really happy with it. Like it's the first invert enclosure that I've ever come across that you can do anything with apart from open and close it. So it's been really interesting to learn what it does, and this has been my best friend. So if you do decide to get one of these enclosures, like, do hold on to this because there's a lot of things that it does, and once you get to grips with it, it's super easy to use and it's so clever. So now I'm going to show you the functions working as they should. So in real life this screen is going to flash, but it's the frame rate of the video, it doesn't actually flash in real life, so it is consistent. So along the bottom then you have the power button, you have manual light and manual airflow, and then you have the modes. Okay, so if the enclosure has nothing going on at the moment, it will just display the time. So in here we have the manual lights, so the lights are up top, and if I press it,
the first light is this beautiful warm light, and it's meant to replicate sunset and sunrise kind of lights. But if you press it again, you get this beautiful bright daylight, and it's almost like looking into a little museum feature.
Then you've got airflow. So if I hold this in, this will start the fan, and the fan is just here. But if I press it again, it goes into auto. So that means it goes on for 5 minutes every 25 minutes. The great thing about that is it stops stagnant air within the enclosure. The exciting thing about the enclosure is the different modes it has. So these modes at the top are to do with what's inside the enclosure. But right now, I've turned them all off because I want to show you properly. But I've been using this function. So the UVB function, I have it on. And then I have it come on at 7 AM, and then that comes on for 10 hours, and then it shuts itself off. The other function I've been using is this, the day-night cycle. So I like this to start at 5, and then that comes on for 12 hours. So right now, there you go. So I really like these two functions, and they're the ones I've been using the most. But yeah, the enclosure, I am so impressed. I'm just really happy. After using it for a week, Morgan's been, you know, super happy about it. She's been out and about, which is nice. She's not been hiding away. And yeah, I think it's great. So yeah, that is my review of the enclosure. Now, the one I've been sent, and I will read this out because it is long and I want to make sure I get it correct. So this is the Ekulla OmniTank CP1 Serious all-in-one enclosure, and you can find it on their website. And this retails for, it starts at $599 US, which translates to about £450 in UK money. And then depending on what size and what you get, it goes up from there. But Ekulla have been really kind, and they've provided me with a code to get you 10% off if you are interested. And I'll include that in the description below, and it'll be on my Instagram, my TikTok, my Facebook. You'll be able to find it wherever. But yeah, so my conclusion is that I'm really happy with this enclosure, and the functions it has are really unique to the invert keeping experience. There is really nothing out there like this at all, but particularly for inverts, they usually get stuck with a little glass or a plastic enclosure, and you're left to deal with it as you can. So having the functions there that make it a bit more lifelike for your animals, it's just awesome, and it's just so enriching for them too. The only things that I have to pick at the enclosure about is the plug. So I feel like if you are spending, you know, $600, $500 on an enclosure, it should come with the right plug. So whether you can have an adapter, or whether when you buy it there is a pre-buy warning that says you need to get the adapter, this is an EU plug, that would be really useful, because obviously I set it up and then I had to wait a couple of days to actually use it. And the only other thing is, for inverts, I would love to see the option to have tinted panels, just so we can scale back the light if we need to. There are tarantulas, like fossorial tarantulas, that prefer a lot of dark. There are tarantulas that live on forest floors under the cover of a lot of plants and brush, and you know, whilst they do benefit from sunlight, they do like to be a lot darker. So it would be interesting to see if we could have that, particularly as the enclosure is so easy to put together and take apart. But those were my only two things that stuck out to me, so I really recommend this enclosure. Yeah, so I was promised, when I'm approached by brands, that I will give you my honest opinion, and I always have, and that hasn't changed. So yeah, that's it, guys. And I'll give you little updates across my social medias on how I'm getting along with the enclosure, but I'm really hoping this is going to be Morgan's sort of forever home. So yeah, thank you for watching, everyone. Please make sure you follow my TikTok, my Instagram and my Facebook. But I'd love your comments. Like, what do you think of the enclosure? Are there any things that you would like to see change, or any things that you love about the enclosure? But as ever, you could talk to me on Instagram, drop me a DM, and I'll catch you next time.